Shenanigans at every corner, sarcasm a holy sermon in style. Dark chocolate melted chaos warmer. Fighting this timeline with snark. Every soul welcome but no recorders. Baptized by laughter in the dark. We stand tall, scorning fake orders. In the church of law we rise, with chaos and shenanigans bright. Chocolate and sarcasm uprise. Together we light up the night.
Hey guys, I hope you are having a great Tuesday. And there is something about Sarah. She won't stop writing letters. It's just not going to happen. It is against her religion. I don't care if she's represented by, the entire dream team. Should she Necronomicon her way back to OJ's original dream team, I still think she would write letters to the judge about how life is unfair. But this is her last 10-page letter to the judge, acting as her own indigent representation. Now, I like to think in my heart of hearts that the clerk scans these just slightly off kilter to bother the control and OCD in Sarah. So while it bothers me, I'm just hoping it's bothering her more, which is totally petty. But this is a Sarah Boone stream, and oh my gosh, it's Sarah Boone. Could we not have petty? Thank you, Wolfram, for doing all of your Modly Mod stuff. I know there are super, trials going on. So if you are on the replay crew, welcome to you too. But we have State of Florida plaintiffs versus Sarah Boone defendant. She really is. I'm wondering how many definitions we're going to get and if I'll have to break out Merriam-Webster's as well. Because, it would be a fun day. Motion to object by the defendant to state's digital evidence, in parentheses, the USB jump drive. Now, Sarah, I'm guessing you are also not technologically skilled, so this is probably a you problem, a user error, than them not giving you the discovery. But I digress. Let's see what Sarah has to say. Comes now the defendant, Sarah Boone, by way of pro se, respectfully requests from this honorable court that my motion may be heard as to my reasons why I am objecting to the state's evidence against me, and to exclude or limit the following particular items attempting to be admitted into my criminal case by the state. Objections are for digital contents specifically and only located on the USB jump drive, titled as 2020 CF, Sarah Boone Digital Discovery Compilation, which was submitted to the defendant on August 9th, 2024. Well, you did get it, so what are we complaining about? Objections by the defendant are as followed. A, quote-unquote suitcase videos, 3 items. These files were obtained from my personal cell phone. Ma'am, that's an admission of guilt. But okay. And X, there are no videos located in this folder on the jump drive. Number 1 image, is a photograph of the suitcase. Number 2 is audio for 2 minutes and 3 seconds. And 3 is audio for 2 minutes or for 22 seconds. Now, Sarah, I'm going to take a wild guess and figure you couldn't figure out how to open the videos. And being technologically impaired as well, I generally point out that most things are a personal user error and maybe not people trying to shenaniganize me. But I understand that your worldview does not work unless you're a victim, so I'll continue. A, lack of authenticity. There's no one to testify that the picture and audio are the same as the scene was at the time the audio was recorded and the photograph taken. It's called a chain of evidence page, and generally, laying foundation is something you do in trial. That's why they do all those boring questions, Sarah. If you've ever watched Matlock, or in anything from the WB, or just watch trial, Sarah, you have time. They have these things called foundation laying questions. Did you receive this from, Sarah Boone's, Cellbrite download? Yes. Did you do anything to alter it? No. Is this in the exact same form that it was when you got it under penalty of perjury? Yes. So, Sarah, yeah, they'll do that. The prosecution fails to establish authenticity in any of these three items submitted. Florida Statute Section 90.901, supporting case law, Cooper versus State. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that none of those things. Again, yes, there are procedurally things you need to do to establish a chain of custody, that none of the evidence was tampered with, but these challenges generally come up, from what I have seen, in the trial. When you ask the person who is responsible for notating or gathering that evidence what steps it went through. Now, B, it has a potential for unfair prejudice. I believe that the singular reason to utilize this audio is for the state to heavily prejudice the jury against me. Based on my statements in the audio to George Torres, the prosecution's evidence is more prejudicial. It's not prejudice than probative, it's prejudicial than probative. Good morning, Dan David. You'd think with that, well, let's see, it's now a 24-year-old copy of Bouvier's Law Dictionary, you would know that. Now, this for a piece of evidence to be considered more prejudicial than probative, and sort of the case law and the tests that a judge is supposed to use. These are all the supporting cases. But again, Sarah, you don't know what you're doing. You had plenty of opportunities to work with lawyers whom you have called dim-witted, incompetent, brought up past, incidents where they had trouble communicating with their clients, basically said that they were blind to justice. I mean, you'd think you'd maybe put some notes in or something. I don't believe that judges go with bullet point notes, but hey, it's a bold strategy. C, violation of Fourth Amendment rights, unlawful search and seizure. This audio was obtained by an unlawful search and seizure of my personal cell phone, and the defense moves to exclude it under my Fourth Amendment right. How is it a violation of your Fourth Amendment right, ma'am? I understand you have supporting case law, but in what way did, the officers hurt you? Because you turned over your phone. You, in fact, turned it over, and without a warrant, I believe they asked if they could see your phone. Then they wrote a warrant after they found incriminating evidence on it. But you fully intended to, work and cooperate. Well, Wolfram, I mean, it does seem really, really convenient that damning evidence is all illegal to be used against her. I enjoy her illegal play here. Now, B, body cams, 4 items. Number 1, the death investigation, and then it goes on to list different streams of footage or different views from different body cams. A, again, lack of authenticity. All of the body cam videos obtained from uniformed officers on the date of the incident are time-stamped and documented incorrectly during the entire use while at the crime scene. Yeah, times can be off on those things. That's why they generally send it to some really cool guy that is computer smart, that generally has an IT goatee, and he can, reconfigure that and get it all going. But sure, because they failed to adhere to daylight savings time, Sarah is definitely free. It was unintentional save by daylight savings time, you bastard. I hate daylight savings time as an aside. I was part of the sane part of Indiana that never practiced until we decided we were going to join the rest of the herd, and I've never been quite the same since. Although I was never normal to begin with, so somewhat a moot point. 6, violation of best evidence rule. The state fails to provide the best version of this evidence. Under best evidence rule, the state has not provided true and accurate video evidence, and the defense moves to exclude these body cam videos. Now, I'm pretty sure having the wrong, like maybe hour time or maybe a wrong date, maybe it was in, ma'am, I just had all that entire spiel to realize she's probably looking at it and it was written in universal time for computers, which is, I don't know why you would do that, but absolutely ridiculous. Oh, how? How did they violate your Miranda rights, ma'am? Violation of Miranda rights. The body cam videos recorded me making statements and providing information prior to being given any Miranda warning. They don't have to give you a Miranda warning until they commence interrogating you. Any statements you voluntarily give to the police can and will be used against you. Again, they want to remind you, and the case is that they cannot question you until they give you your Miranda warnings or interrogate you in a certain informal settings. Most cops will do this, with a little card. But sure, Jan, I'm sure everything against you is totally unlegal and we shouldn't use it against you. These are illegal interrogations and a violation of my Fifth Amendment rights and should be excluded under the exclusionary rule. Supporting case law, Miranda versus Arizona and Edwards versus Arizona. Oh, and now she's getting to her trick. And this is the one where Sarah, thinks she has a point. She doesn't. But she's like, they lied to get me into the police, the prison. They told me I was just coming here to answer some questions. They didn't tell me I was going to be under arrested. I was not even warned that I was going to be arrested. Yeah, they don't generally do that. They were trying to give you a way. Again, they sat you down, showed you the video and say, would you like to explain this? Because we have enough probable cause and evidence right here just on the video that we can charge you. So would you like to explain any of this, which you don't have to do, which Sarah shouldn't have. She should have gotten a lawyer. But this was not a particularly crafty ploy to, befuddle and confuse Sarah. No. So this is her interrogation tape. A, lack of authenticity. This interrogation video has no timestamp throughout. Its entirety of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 3 seconds. Florida Statute Section 90.901 and supporting case law, Cooper versus State. Now, what I do find interesting is that she's decided to cherry pick this Cooper versus State because she doesn't want to actually look up, any pertinent sort of things. She's just going for lack of authenticity. She found a case and she's going to pitch it right in there and hope it works for the best. Violation of best evidence rules. The state fails to provide the best version of this evidence, the one where you don't talk, Sarah, because the only thing that would make that interrogation better is if we didn't have to deal with your insufferable ass during the entirety of it. But, I mean, that's my opinion. Under the best evidence rule, the state has not provided the true and accurate video evidence, and the defense moves to exclude this interrogation video. The defendant requests that the due date be extended to submit objections based upon the defendant. 1 is unable to utilize her 6th constitutional amendment right to counsel. No, not unable. You You took that privilege, that right, you spat on it, you pooed on it, you lit it on fire, and then you have the unmitigated goal to act like you are being put upon and victimized by humanity, society, and the judicial system because maybe the taxpayers have a say in how many times we're going to give you a mulligan and a new lawyer. Maybe the taxpayers in Florida and, George's family deserve just a little thought too. But no, you are the greatest victim in the world. Sailor victim Boone has never been pro se before, but I thought you were a high school honor roll student, so I think this is at your achievement level, Sarah. You have said that you are great at multitasking. You're always corpus mentis. I mean, you're using Latin in every day to be a pedantic asshole. So you're already halfway to being a lawyer already. Don't don't sell yourself short, Sarah. You could be pro se. 3 is not an attorney or an officer of the legal system, lacks requisite professional competency, experience, expertise in the legal field. I think I might frame this just because I know how much it has to hurt her to, say that she lacks in any category in her life, especially competency. I might frame that. I am in full petty mode. Look, the HOA got me twisted last night because Mr. Mo's birthday on we are on full tangent engaged. So allow me to put the stinger in. Buttons. My kryptonite. I too have been abused by buttons. The HOA. So not only does my husband save every email, but he got a confirmation that our fees are paid up and due. We get a collections notice or that, scary letter before they send you to collections uh, last night. And Mr. Mo is ticked. And he was in a good mood. Like we had spaghetti, we had garlic bread. The older girls had gone out and gotten him a cake. And good mood, like I canceled my stream, we are gonna have fun. And no, 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 now he is having to send the, management company back the exact email in which they thank us for our very prompt payment and the confirmation number on the receipt. And I was just like, HOA, you got me twisted. I was trying to be good and seriously. Now, she is well, number 5 is that she is currently being hindered by her incarcerated state. We definitely should just give her bail. 6 has extremely limited and restricted resources to conduct extensive legal research to further support objections. In parentheses, she does not have the internet, doesn't have full-time use and access to a laptop, does not have full-time use and access to a tablet, does not have access to privacy temporarily for, in-depth review of discovery. I thought Sarah Boone. Now wait, we're going to the chalkboard of truth with this one because I'm gonna need someone to explain the many statements of Sarah Boone to me because I believe she has been saying that she's been carrying the torch of her, flame of liberty or whatever. But we've only had 873, letters of correspondence, longer than the Old Testament and the New Testament, in which Sarah is the only one who's concerned with Sarah's freedom. Sarah is keeping the torch of her freedom going. All right. She is here for it. She is, lady law, liberty, justice for all. So we've got that going. But she has been stating that she is fighting the man all by herself. We only have 37 letters basically from her, at least a gajillion pages where she's like, I'm the only one who cares about my liberty. I'm fighting for justice and freedom in the Sarah way. I can't with this chick. She's just like, I don't have the internet and I'm not very functional. Well, neither am I, but you don't see me going through 18 different public defenders. It's called Life and Choices, Sarah. Has limited access to a defense team investigator. And thank you, Obscure Destinations, for joining. I know that, auction day. Well, if you find any really cool Dolly Parton pictures on Velvet, let me know. I will pay you back. Thank you so much for that super chat. And I need to go back to auctions. We have lovely auctions out here. I just haven't had time. So have a fun day at auction day. And oh, well, dang it. Well, then get a really cute cow. Get a really cute calf and name it Sarah. It will have to be a good calf, though. We can only have one evil Sarah. It's the good Sarah. There are these objections were done as expeditiously as possible based on my current circumstances. The process for a pro se defendant requires much more time, especially while incarcerated, than that of an unrestricted, well educated, resourceful attorney who is fully capable and has all the aforementioned availabilities. Also, I reserve my reasonings for my objections in court oral arguments. Well, that is one thing we are protected from. Sarah will never give oral arguments, and I think the world is going to, the world is going to start healing. Wherefore the defendant Sarah Boone, by way of pro se, she removed indigent and incompetent, indigent and insufferable from her little title, respectfully moves this honorable court in conclusion. I always love this because you know how much it hurts her to write honorable on her little, nasty grams. She really doesn't like having to ever give the court any credit for honorability or, reverence. I am objecting to this, to hear the reasons why I am objecting to the state's evidence against me and to exclude or limit the included particular items attempted to be admitted into my criminal case by the state. She does sign an oath. I'm just not sure where she lives in regards to the boundaries of truth or where that zip code might be for her. I don't think her passport has ever kind of wandered through the territories of truth. So I don't even know that she's even visited. And yes, I am full on petty on this stream. I'm sorry, Sarah Boone has ticked me off. The fact that she's like, all the bad evidence against me is totally wrong. Reasons, YOLO. I'm so done with her. And I still think that we need to come up with a list of things that made Sarah smile, because those can be nothing good for humanity. And I never want to see her smiling again. I really don't. I was more terrified than when she does her whole Sarah Boone, resting bee face. I am comforted. That is, you know what? I know what to expect from her. I know she's just going to be, all the thunder cow. But when she starts smiling, I'm assuming that she's figured out Avada Kedavra and how to do that in real life. I can imagine nothing good. Or she watched the Nancy Kerrigan, knee injury Y thing on a loop. I don't know what she does for fun, but those are my top two in my headcanon as to why she was laughing and giggling and being all smiley at her last hearing. So now we go back to inmate notes because, well, there is more Sarah and more insanity as we are not shocked at all. So her next big negative officer contact comes from, she had a good day. She had a couple of really good days. Now, I'm not a policeologist, but has anyone at the jail thought of getting her an emotional support empty thing of pledge? Now, she seems to be very good and she seems to only be productive and well, just non a total B word when she's cleaning. So have we thought about simply emptying out an aerosol can of pledge and letting her hold on to it like some of us would a puppy, but it would keep her stable? I mean, forget SSRIs. Give this chick an empty can of pledge. I think we'll be okay. But it seems to be the only time that she ever gets good officer notes are when she, volunteers to clean because this place is a pigsty. A negative officer contact on 8/20/2022, or no, 2020. At approximately 0000 hours after lockdown, inmate Boone and inmate Mitchell started a verbal argument from their individual bunks. Both inmates cursed at each other back and forth, and I advised them to be quiet. Neither inmate complied to my verbal commands. Both Boone and the other inmate were sent to holding for informal discipline for 2 hours. Negative earn. I don't want to see her smile, though. Again, anything that puts a smile of that magnitude on her face is just not good for general humanity. Next, upon arrival from holding cell, I spoke to inmate Boone about her behavior, arguing during court. Inmate Boone seemed to be receptive while being spoken to, but when then mentioned that she felt uncomfortable with the other inmate that she'd gotten into a shouting fight with. I asked her if anything inappropriate was done to her, to which she stated, quote, "No, nothing ever happened." Inmate Boone mentioned that she felt uncomfortable with the way that the other inmate supposedly treated her. I asked inmate Boone if she was in fear for her life, and she stated, "No, I'm not in fear." Then she asked inmate Boone if she wanted to be sent to another bunk to avoid any other verbal disagreements with the other inmate, and she declined to be moved. At that point, inmate Boone refused all options that were given to her. This is only for informational purposes. Well, I mean, why solve the problem when you can continue to bitch about it and make yourself look like a victim? Am I right? I hate this. This is the part of the things that, look, my kids do this all the time. I When they are bickering with each other, I'm like, look, either you go to a different room, you sit here and I make you two hug until I'm bored, or you just be quiet and I don't hear you bickering with each other. But there is not a third option, like, we can get rid of the feral one, which has been suggested. That is okay. This chick was born to be in an orange jumpsuit. Another negative officer contact, just 4 days after the last one, inmate Boone is receiving negative for talking in the day room while the nurse in the dorm was conducting a medication pass. I gave several loud directives to the dorm that there would be no talking while the nurse was present. Inmate Boone was sent to her bunk at 21:54 hours for no more than 2 hours of informal discipline. Now, I think we've got this all wrong. It sounds like they're just being sent to their, like, a smaller another cell for their, quiet time. I mean, how can you get how do you get restriction? How do you get grounded in jail? Like, I'm afraid I'm going to have you sit in this corner and write 100 lines. Okay, let's see here. Interesting. So Sarah was, shown an RA assessment and, given one of those, informative video kind of things that they have to ask. So she had to, state that she understood the contents of the video, that she understood how to report any new issues. I think Sarah reporting things is not the problem. Maybe you should have had a very special after school Sarah special about what actually is an incident and what is not an incident. Because my guess is now you're going to get all of the complaints. Now on the 28th, she seems to have a 4-day cycle where she just cannot go more than 4 days without getting a negative officer contact. But again, she was talking in the bunk area. For a high school honor roll student and person that excels in everywhere in their personal life, it is kind of confusing how she doesn't understand, like, this is a talking zone and this is a no talking zone. And you're in prison and you don't get to make the choices of which is which. Another negative talking or negative officer contact for talking in, after lockdown. Oh, we've got a positive. Let's mark that on a calendar. Again, Sarah Boone was volunteered to clean. Or, she volunteered to clean. Again, I'm telling you guys, just give her an empty Lysol Clorox wipe container. It seems to calm her. It's not going to cost you anything as an empty damn container, but it seems like she is okay as long as she's able to pretend that she has, the ability to clean things. I don't know, but, why don't they make me a warden? I could figure this stuff out. Oh, now she did receive another negative because I guess, after getting a positive, she has to get 8 negatives in order to make that math go correctly. She received a negative for refusing to follow verbal orders from staff. All inmates were advised of dorm rules, and yet again, she continues to talk. Now, she received formal discipline in the form of 2 hours in a holding cell. Further violations were going to result in further disciplinary actions according to, everything. Inmate Boone was advised showers were only were open. Inmate Boone continued to question when the rec yard would be open. She was given a directive to return back to her bunk. The inmate was counseled about her insolence towards staff. Sarah Boone Karening out on staff? Yeah, seems about right. No lies detected. She decided that wearing masks just weren't for her, so she had to be corrected to wear the face diaper fully covering her nose. She also had another negative contact. Inmate is receiving a negative for not having a face mask on or above her nose after all the inmates were advised to do so. All inmates were advised of the rules and what non-compliance would require. It is hard being Sarah Boone. I mean, you have to be smarter than everyone, prettier than everyone. Everyone's jealous of you. And then you also have to go to prison because, you kind of locked your boyfriend in a suitcase unintentionally. And then people like me make fun of you on the internet. Now, there is a through line in all of those scenarios that Sarah has failed to calculate yet, and that would be herself and her attitude. But rest assured, Sarah is being unfairly, treated. Information. Inmate Boone refused her regular tray and stated that she wanted a bagged meal. Now, I don't know what Sarah's deal is with all of these, bagged meals, and she can't have soy. I get that because I know I don't particularly, when choosing foods, pick the ones that are full of soy, but you can't make a bitch fit out of that, ma'am. And then I think we had already covered those last two, because those are just her refusing to have any sort of meal, and then she wanted to complain about the bagged meal, and then she would, will will be seen eating with regular trays, so who the hell knows? The prison's like, I don't know. She just seems to want to complain. Welcome, Lady Tammy. Good morning. So, after all this rigmarole of trying to figure out what Sarah's allowed to have, she continues to make changes to her dietary needs every day. She got a negative officer contact because Sarah approached the officer's desk and began to scold the officer about a bag meal she said she had when I was on duty for her lunch. I explained to inmate Boone again that she was afforded a special diet by medical to accommodate her allergies, but refused. Inmate Boone stated to me that just because she's not like the hair braiders in the dorm, these are Sarah Boone's words, not mine, YouTube. And I think we have gone through this because we were like, oh Lord, Sarah Boone is going to get knocked out flat. Gen Pop Justice running her mouth with this one. Because yeah, no, we don't generally talk poo. I am honestly genuinely confused how this woman has not caught some Gen Pop cotton, good lord, has not caught some Gen Pop justice, considering how just abrasive and personally bitchy she is. I generally didn't figure people in prison would have that much self-control, but good on you, other fellow inmates, for not getting yourselves in trouble for Sarah Boone. Now, Sarah just can't say no to going up to the desk and wonder why, things aren't happening the way she feels like they should. Inmate Boone on 12/25/2020 approached the officer's desk and asked the officer, quote, why wasn't she on the cleaning list? Because she was on the cleaning list the morning that another officer was on shift. Now, Sarah had gone to medical during this intervening time of, 2 days of being able to maintain human behavior. Due to her going to medical, it's if you have been in the military, when you go to a sick call and then you get a profile or you get placed on medical orders, unless that same doctor releases you from those medical orders, the guards, the sergeants, the drill sergeants will not change what you're able to do just because you say you feel better, because you don't have the training to determine that, and they are not going to catch a lawsuit because you think you're better and you fall out on the field. I mean, these are all things that one should be able to take a step back and say, you know, looking at it objectively, that makes sense. But Sarah lacks that, ability. Now, she continues to refuse breakfast, but today on the 1/22/2021, she refused her lunch. The officer called the inmate kitchen and spoke to John and asked him what was in the hot dogs, and he stated it was soy and chicken. Inmate Boone is allergic to soy, so a bagged meal was offered. Oh, a long negative officer contact. So 2/2/2021. On this AM, I made an announcement for personal laundry. Most of the inmates came down with their laundry. I was observing the process of how the new dorm trustee did laundry. I noticed that her and inmate Boone were conversating for a while. I hate that word. I observed inmate Boone put her personal laundry in the left laundry machine. As I was conducting my visual, just out of curiosity, I looked into the wash machine and saw that the only items in this particular machine were inmate Boone's. Being that we do not wash linens in the dorms, I took the sheet out of the wash machine and put it in a garbage bag and placed it outside the door. Inmate Boone approached me in a defensive manner with her hands on her hips, and she did. She's like, got the little chicken neck thing going because Obviously, when her head is full of rage, her neck just disengages. But she's like, "So are you gonna give me another sheet?" I asked her, "Why don't you have a sheet?" And she continued to babble, possibly my favorite line ever. She refused, or she continued to babble, possibly no truer statement made of Sarah Boone's ramblings than that. About why she did not have a sheet and why she put her sheet in the laundry and so on and so forth. I explained to her that linen exchange is done on night shift other than in an emergency. The inmate was not receptive and stated to me that this matter is something else to add to her notes? Question mark. Oh my gosh, is Sarah compiling her own officer demerit system? Oh, I don't know. It's nothing on my end, and I can see you in the chat, Heidi, so I am not quite sure. YouTube is being weird. I will say that. Now, again, I can only imagine Sarah's detailed list of officer demerits when they didn't listen to her in her own Sarah Boone-ness. I stated to her to please do exactly what you have to do. But now you are displaying a conduct that disrupts the orderliness and security of the dorm by yelling at this officer. To continue to have order in the dorm, inmate Boone was escorted to a holding cell for informal discipline for 2 hours. Again, I think she just needs, working on license plates. Inmate Boone received a negative while on break. Corporal Gilreth informed me that she instructed inmate Boone, Sarah, to go to her bunk. Inmate Boone was not properly wearing her face mask per the CDC guidelines. Inmate Boone informed Corporal Galbraith that she had some type of medical cream applied on her face and she couldn't wear the mask for 30 minutes. Inmate Boone was also informed the corporal that Officer Fulton was aware. Inmate Boone did not have permission by this officer to be improperly wearing her face mask. Again, she received another negative on the next day for not wearing her face mask the way it was supposed to. Interesting. We come to 3/17/2021. On 3/16/15, but I think they mean 21, while working in FDCH dorm, inmate Boone approached the officer's station and stated she was still having issues with another inmate, and that so two other inmates. On 3/15/21, I spoke with all inmates concerned due to them having a disagreement in the bunk area. Inmate Boone stated that the other two inmates were harassing her and calling her a killer. Well, if the shoe fits, Sarah. I mean, you're not in here, you're not in prison for being a saint. Again, I spoke with both inmates about the situation. Both inmates stated that inmate Boone was lying. The other two inmates stated they were arguing because Boone was talking about them while she thinks they're sleeping. Due to inmate Boone demanding that both inmates be separated and she not be moved, I felt that there was inmate manipulation in play. I spoke to Corporal Sutton about the incident, and she stated that she would speak with all of the inmates. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. It does shock me that, and I would have figured she would have been in medical a lot because there are some people that you do not approach with disrespect. There are some people that will take the smallest of slights as being disrespectful or a challenge to their authority and maybe don't have the coping skills that, mean that they can have all that self-control. But, okay, we have read these. I remember these because I was trying to think. There were a couple pages that I hadn't gotten, and then they were more so my personal error. Now, she had a negative officer conduct on 9/21/2021. This inmate Boone has a okay, this must be a positive that they labeled under negative. But she has gone above and beyond to help staff. Inmate Boone has volunteered to clean the dorm for the last 5 days. Again, put some googly eyes on an empty thing, a pledge, and you have America, or you have Sarah Boone's emotional support animal, and we should see better behavior from her. Now, she can only keep that up for 1 day. Inmate received a negative for not being properly dressed when leaving the bunk area. Proper dress includes a face mask, which she did not have on. Sarah Boone fighting against the COOF for freedom while incarcerated. Let's see here. Classification note. Inmate Boone, Sarah, was removed from the faith-based program today due to several complaints of intimidation, bullying, and antagonizing inmate workers in the dorm, specifically dorm workers. I spoke with her approximately 3 weeks ago due to behavior complaints that were coming from inmate workers assigned to dorm trustee. I advised her that she would be removed from the faith based program and relocated if she continued this negative behavior. And therefore, she was relocated to a new housing dorm to resolve the issue. Inmate Sarah Boone has been removed from the faith based program, Life Learning Program, without previous notification to the program director. Chaplain was notified by email after the fact. It should be noted that Inmate Boone is one of the most improved program participants with no discipline issues, respectful, and always willing to help. Okay, well, ma'am, okay, Chaplain Gomez, I'm going to have to say BS and X'd it out. Well, those face masks just keep coming after Sarah. She got another no face mask worn for 11/2/2021 at 1:07 a.m. Interesting. Inmate is receiving a negative for talking again in the bunk. All inmates, again, were told not to talk. These basic rules. A big negative officer contact. 11/9/2021. On today, November 9, 2021, inmate Sarah approached the officer desk and asked if any mail came today. I told her no. Inmate Boone did not like that answer, so she got an attitude and continued questioning this officer about the mail. She stated she finds it very odd that the mail hasn't come in 3 days and demanded I call to check to see if B dorm has any incoming mail for today. I explained to Sarah Boone that I am unaware that I became a postal employee and that I was a prison ward. And do I look like I'm wearing all brown and am from, USPS? If I say there's no mail, that's because there's no mail here. I fixed that one a little bit. They did not say that they were not from from UPS. But she also got a demerit for, not having a face mask. She did demand an inmate request form. The form was made available to her, but she stormed off. Inmate Boone constantly questions the officer's authority and gets an attitude when she doesn't get her way. I mean, she sounds like every toddler I've ever met. All inmates were given my dorm expectations and advised several times that there would be no talking at any time in the bunk, shower, or bathroom areas. After ensuring all inmates understood the verbal orders being given to them, while conducting chores of the dorm, the inmates continued to talk in the bunk area, disregarding the rules of the dorm. All inmates in the dorm were informed that they would be remaining on their bunks for 2 hours, which was documented by my, note system. Inmate Boone approached the officer's desk, stating she had to contact her attorney before 2 p.m. I advised inmate Boone that once 2 hours are over, the phones will be available for use. Boone, however, became argumentative with me, stating it's not fair and this is cruel punishment. Inmate Boone requested an inmate request form and to speak with my supervisor. Of course, she decided to. She's like, I would like to speak to your manager, your district regional manager. Now, inmate Boone did return an inmate request form on this matter, which was given to a supervisor. Darn it. She even asked for the regional district manager this time. She was again talking in her bunk because this woman cannot stop talking. Otherwise, the venom and hatred within her soul would, get to dangerous pressure levels and she would explode. That's my only idea as to why she can't follow basic rules. Other than, she just believes rules are beneath her. Now we have information from October, not October, from 12/6/2021. On today, December 6, 2021, inmate Boone approached the officer desk with an inmate request form along with 2 handwritten pages that were attached stating she wanted to grieve video visitation regarding her visit that took place yesterday on December 5th, 2021. Inmate Boone stated her visit was cut off for no reason. I, Officer Veal, made it very clear to inmate Boone that her visit did not get cut off for no reason. I'm sure there was a reason. I then asked her if she addressed her concern with the officer that was on duty yesterday. She stated she did, and the officer's explanation being that her son departed the home visitation screen and her visit ended. I then stated to inmate Boone that there is the reason, and I'm not sure what she's trying to grieve. I took it upon myself to landline video visitation. I spoke to Miss Stanford and advised her of inmate Boone's concern. Miss Stanford asked me to place the phone on speaker so inmate Boone could hear the rules on how video visitation works. The rules are no different from an on-site visit. Inmate Boone was still a bit upset and appeared receptive and now understand how video visitation works. Inmate Boone still insisted on speaking to a supervisor. Sergeant Dunn was notified and made aware of the situation. Sergeant Dunn is like, no, I was almost out of this joint. You've got another Sarah Boone complaint? Damn it. Info, and this is from 12/15/2021. Inmate Boone Sarah had an attorney visit tonight, 12/15/2021 at 23:30 hours with attorney Mauricio Padilla. Mr. Padilla requested to see Boone in person in the staff briefing room or some other room. His request was denied, and he was advised that he would be allowed to speak with her via attorney interview room. I personally don't have knowledge of any official directives that allow Sarah Boone face-to-face visits with FDC with her attorney. And then it said, today, September 16th, 2021, inmate Boone approached this officer while conducting a visual and stated that she needed to speak with me. Inmate Boone then stated that another inmate is going around B dorm discussing her case and calling her a murderer, yelling, I can't breathe, per inmate Boone, in a mocking tone about a case that she knows nothing about. Oh, for the love of Cheetos. Let me go check my camera because it's being a butt. I do love how we get this just general idea that no one else can recognize or sort or understand patterns, take information from different places, and come up with our own opinion as to how we feel about Sarah Boone. She's like, no one knows anything about my case. They weren't there. Well, we kind of saw the video and we've seen your interrogation. We've kind of got a clear page on this. Now, My first question to inmate Boone was, did she discuss her concern with the officer that was on duty prior to me? She said no, because it happened yesterday. Uh, Now, while I was on duty. So my next question is, why am I just now hearing about it today? Inmate Boone had no answer for that question. Then I told her I would speak to the other inmate in regards to this matter. Inmate Boone made it loud and clear that she did not want me to speak to the other inmate. Instead, she requested me move the other inmate from bunk 40, and by doing so, the problem would be solved. Being that the problem would be solved just by moving from one bunk to another, I decided to move inmate Boone instead from bunk number 39. Now, inmate Boone appeared to be upset regarding my decision, and she stated that everything was okay and she didn't want to be moved. She is comfortable where she is currently housed. It should be noted that inmate Boone is always trying to manipulate staff to get her way. Being that this particular incident didn't work in her favor, she is upset. Inmate Boone is fully aware that if I hear anything else in regards to this matter, she will be relocated to another bunk. Well, Wolfram, that is using logic and, intelligence to suss out things instead of looking through a lens of Sarah is always, the victim. And we can't have that. Now, she just couldn't make it another 5 days. 12/21/2021. Inmate Boone approached this officer and stated she needed a new pair of slides because they were ripped. And she stated that she's asked 7 different officers and no one has gotten her a pair. On today, December 21st, 2021, I, Officer Veal, gave inmate Boone a new pair of slides, but she didn't like the pair, so she declined. She stated that her current ones are so much nicer. I'm not sure what types of slides she thinks she should get, but they're all the same. She's like, no, I want the better slides, not the ones for the poors or the, criminals. I am here unintentionally. Oh, but then she manages to get a positive officer contact. 12/29/2021, inmate Boone volunteered to assist an inmate worker duties such as washing personal laundry, setting up for lunch, cleaning the day room due to there being no inmate worker assigned to B dorm. It really is. I mean, how does she survive in this world? I don't know. I'm sure she'll come up with a book about her time. I'm hoping she'll name it My Struggle just because it would tickle me to death. But, the Sarah Boone story, not without my suitcase. And then she had another positive contact. Oh my God, she managed to rack up 2 positive contacts in a row without a negative. A dorm is currently on restricted movement and does not have a dorm trustee. Inmate Boone assisted with laundry and putting away all supplies. But then she goes and ruins it. 1/16/2022. During a medical emergency, inmate Boone was in the shower. Well, that would also scare me too. Inmate Boone was given a verbal order to get dressed quickly and get out of the shower due to a medical emergency in the dorm. Inmate Boone was given several verbal orders to get out of the shower and return to her bunk. Inmate Boone proceeded to take her slow ass time getting out of the shower. Once the emergency was completed, inmate Boone was given 2 hours of informal discipline and counseled about her actions and appeared to be receptive and understands that future incidents will result in formal disciplinary action. Because, yeah. I mean, who cares if another inmate is, having a medical emergency? Sarah needs to rinse, lather, repeat, then condition. That hair doesn't stay beautiful on its own. Oh, and then we've got a big negative. Inmate Boone is receiving a negative for talking in the shower to another inmate. Officer Veal told both inmates several times that there was to be no talking while in the shower, but to no avail. All inmates were advised of the rules, and the inmate is aware that her negative behavior continuing, she would be given informal discipline. Now it looks like on the same day, Sarah just could not get it all together. She was in a pissy mood and she just went Boone all over the place. Inmate Boone is receiving this negative for failure to follow verbal order from staff. Inmate Boone constantly starts arguments with other inmates in the dorm every time she volunteers to do duties around the dorms. It should be noted that Inmate Boone is not the dorm trustee. She just volunteers. I advised Inmate Boone that I do not need her assistance anytime that I am on duty because of this very reason. Welcome, Roland Arthur. And oh, so she is a cry bully. I see that she likes to pretend that she is now the current manager of the dorm when she's volunteering. On today, February 23rd, 2022, I, Officer Veal, observed Inmate Boone approach another inmate while she was standing at the kiosk. Inmate Boone was telling Inmate Ward that she was not doing a great job of being dorm trustee because she gave everyone cleaning towels instead of bath towels. Towels exchange was done at night. The conversation between the two inmates had gotten loud and caused a disturbance. I advised both Inmate Boone and the other inmate to cease the noise and return to their bunks. Both complied. So I believe it's generally to just keep order in the prison. I'm guessing those communal areas, and I've never worked in corrections or anything, so I'm just giving it my best speculative answer is that, women are catty. Women, I am sure that there had been plenty of fights where people just talking under their breaths. So in order to curtail all of that, they're just like, there are certain spaces where you guys are not going to talk. You're just going to get your business done, like in the showers and in the bathrooms, just to make sure that we don't have, Sarah going around and trying to start stuff or other inmates trying to start stuff. That's my guess, but I don't know logistically other than my general speculation. Now, shortly after, I observed Inmate Boone still talking about the other inmate to other inmates in the dorm. I then called Inmate Boone to the officer's desk and advised her that I did not want to hear anything else about the cleaning towels or bath towels. It's done and over with. Inmate Boone decided she wanted to continue challenging me by talking about the towels. It should be noted that Inmate Boone constantly tries to challenge and manipulate staff. Inmate Boone was counseled in regards to her behavior. I made it clear that I don't need her doing anything in the dorm unless her name is assigned to a chore on a chore list. I also stated there's nothing else to talk about in regards to this matter. Inmate Boone did not appear receptive, but understands that future incidents will result in further disciplinary action. You are welcome. I would take that with a giant, pound of salt because I am not quite sure. But that would be my logical guess is in order to stop, maybe bickering and any, incidental fights, especially in the shower area and the bathroom area where it could get all slickery and you don't want a bunch of, naked female convicts wrestling around in there. My guess is that's why they did that, but I have no real idea. But true to form, Sarah only wants to volunteer for good girl points so that she can lord things over other people. Why am I shocked? Well, Sarah Boone received a positive due to her cleaning the dorm alongside the dorm trustee and helping out wherever needed, but probably not from the last officer. Unfortunately, then she got another negative conduct, just 9 days later. Inmate Boone is receiving this negative for being in an unauthorized bunk area. Again, these are all rules that Sarah is not confused about. This has been nearly a year of her being in this particular prison or not prison, jail, and she should know how things work there. But rules are under Sarah's view and or purview. Sarah is a special, special gal. Another information. So during shakedown, inmate Boone has excessive amounts of property that she had to use to the point she had to utilize two lockers to store it. Inmate Boone was given an inmate handbook to review the rules that govern the jail and this dorm. Inmate Boone's extra property was inventoried and taken to the property, like the lockup property evidence section of the jail. Ma'am, how many, packs of ramen noodles did you hoard? It really isn't. Yeah. Now, a negative officer contact. While conducting a shakedown in B dorm, it was discovered that inmate Boone had excessive property, causing her to occupy two drawers, even storing items underneath the mattress due to both drawers being at full capacity. Inmate was ordered to pack up inventory and inventory her belongings to be sent to property. During this process, inmate Boone was not receptive. Inmate would try to give every excuse as to why she needed each item. Oh my God. Do we have body cam of this? Because I need Hoarders Prison Edition. I need Sarah to have to touch each item. Okay, I'm willing to let this go. Although, to be fair, I just take all of her crap and throw it in a trash bag, but I was a latchkey kid that came, to be a mom of 6 wild feral children. I don't have time to negotiate with toddlers. Now, this is not the first time that inmate Boone has been told that she has extremely too much property. A padlock was placed on drawer 35 to prevent her from further storing her stuff there. I mean, what is this woman hoarding? Like shower caps and toothpaste? I thought she wasn't getting her alimony, so she couldn't buy anything from commissary. So, what the hell are you saving, Sarah? Uh, Inmate Boone received a bag of property from BRC Property Room. Inmate Boone was advised that if all her belongings do not fit in one drawer, she would need to send some property back. Inmate Boone pulled clothing, legal paperwork out, and sent the rest of the property back to the BRC. So there you go. Now, she is starting to really irritate people with her refusal for the breakfast tray, and my guess is that she's only given sort of a negative contact when she is really, really extra Sarah levels. Because personally, I don't have to look. If you don't want breakfast, that's a you problem. Do whatever. I'm not going to argue with you, Sarah. Just don't have breakfast. But don't come at me with an attitude, because I will give you a demerit. And welcome, Jung Forever. Sarah has a great smile, but the things that make her smile make me scared for humanity. Nothing good ever made that woman smile. Like the end of Old Yeller and the Nancy Kerrigan "Why" video, I'm sure make her giggle hysterically, but anything that makes Sarah Boone smile that wide is terrible for humanity, and I don't approve of it. Well, Sarah returned nail clippers. Now, there is another positive officer contact where she helped with, assisting in dorm chores. Now, considering Sarah only does this so that she can lord it over and boss other inmates around, I think that her help is more of a hindrance. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't particularly think that Sarah, uses her powers for good. And then we get to an information link. So let's see here. At approximately 1400 hours, so 2 o'clock, the water to the whole compound was turned off. In preparation, each dorm was provided one large trash can to be filled with water for the toilets and 2 water coolers for drinking water. The memo was sent out by management that the water was shut off for at least 5 to 6 hours. So, due to this, water coolers were not readily available for inmates to drink. Boone came from outside on the rec yard asking for water. I, Officer Jennings, told her no. She was not satisfied with my response. She stated she had walked 100 laps on the rec yard and needed water. Again, I said no and attempted to explain that the drinking water in coolers needed to last for hours. She then tried to bargain with me, asking for water now, and she wouldn't get any later. Again, I said no. I know, JKD Buck. How am I defaming her? She's easy. She is so easy to get along with that 8 lawyers were like, don't hog Sarah all to yourself. I want to play with Sarah too. How the media always spinning things so wrong, JKD Buck. uh, Again, I said no, but I reminded her that she can get water from the nurse again, like she did this morning during MedPass. This was not an acceptable answer for Boone. Boone returned to the desk with a filled out request form asking for a grievance. The request was given to my immediate supervisor. This is only for informational purposes. Sarah, it's called You Are Not the Only One That Needs Water. There are going to be 5 to 6 hours in which the entire building will be lacking water. So the officer not only has to think of you, but about everyone else who's going to want to drink and maybe doesn't have special Sarah privilege to drink like a camel. There was more talking in the bunk area, day room, and recreation yards. So there you go. Another talking. This woman does not stop talking. Ooh, another negative officer, contact. 6/18/2022. Per Sergeant Hicks, Bravo dorm was placed on lockdown due to their behavior during a medical emergency. Some inmates, including Boone, asked for request forms to grieve the situation. Once Boone completed the request, she approached the desk asking if I was going to call Sergeant Hicks. I stated no and just to place her request with the others. This was not to Sarah Boone's satisfaction. She stated she had done nothing wrong and shouldn't get punished. I explained to her that it was out of my control and to step away from the office. Now, Boone again asked to speak with my manager, to which I responded again for her to step away from the desk and return to her bunk. Boone remained standing at the desk. I called for movement to respond to B dorm due to me having one for a holding cell. Boone was compliantly handcuffed and sent to a holding cell. Sergeant Hicks was made aware of the situation. Now, I'm guessing she is going to different officers on this B block, and the ones that are not aware of full. You're always mixing us up. I love that. To be fair, I always got Hudson and Hicks mixed up, but God bless you, Bill Paxton, and you left this earth too soon, damn it. But it seems like she goes to various different officers who may not be permanently stationed in B bunk, and then she tries to get her little positive brownie points by saying, "No, I volunteer to help." And the, regular staff on the dorm is like, "That is a poison pill. She is not offering out of goodness of her heart. She just wants to be, a butt. Do not let her volunteer." So she was able to get 2, positive officer contacts for helping clean and, serve stuff. She was noted as having a positive attitude with a willingness to help. Well, once in a lifetime, sure. Negative officer contact. All inmates were given expectations at beginning of shift, and all inmates were advised that only one inmate was allowed in the restroom at a time. Inmate Boone was seen in the restroom with another inmate. Both inmates were counseled about their behavior. Both inmates are fully aware of dorm rules. There's another one. While relieving Officer Brown in Bravo dorm, I received a call from DSO Foster via phone for inmate Boone. Uh, she is asking about an interview she had up front. When I called out to Boone to let her know she had an interview, she came to the officer's desk and asked who was visiting. When I explained I don't know who, but she has an interview, she became intolerant and belligerent, stating, quote, "Oh, you don't know your job. It's your job to find out so I know what to bring." Holy God, did she just go, how I pay my taxes, I pay your salary. You should know your job. Sarah really did say you're terrible at your job. I counseled her on being disrespectful and she became irate and walked away from the desk to retrieve her papers. Be advised she has had dozens of negatives to her about her behavior towards staff. Uh, I can't imagine Sarah Boone being disrespectful. Let's see here. So this is Sarah again getting in trouble for constantly and, repetitively and habitually flouting dorm rules, and she's been counseled in regards to her negative behavior. She became argumentative and was advised that any future incidents would result in formal disciplinary action. Now, as a parent, I have read will result in, future incidents will result in formal disciplinary actions about 1,100 times during her inmate notes. So Sarah knows that you guys are going to note it in her file, and she might have to do a 2-hour timeout, but you are not adding anything. And this is why Sarah thinks that she can manipulate you. You have given her clear and concise rules. You have given everyone clear and concise rules. And yet Sarah always just gets counseled that, hey, if you continue to break this rule, we might send you to timeout for longer. It looks like during another shakedown, inmate had an extra uniform and towel. Inmate has also been warned several times to only use her assigned locker. Inmate Boone has property in both lockers. Uh, a lock was added to bunk 35's locker in order to keep inmate Boone out of said locker. Again, prison, I know you would think that you would know that your rights would be restricted, but apparently that's just I don't know, not going to happen for Sarah. This inmate states she is unable to conduct her chore of cleaning the top tier due to her having surgery. Be advised a notebook entry was entered on September 9th, 2022, stating, quote, "Inmate is receiving this positive for assisting dorm trustee with dorm chores in preparation for inspection. Inmate is willing to always volunteer to help when needed." This entry was entered well after her surgery date. Inmate Boone is also housed on the top tier and commutes up and down the stairs with no problem. The only medical alert this inmate has is for a second pillow or a back pillow. Nothing states she cannot work. Inmate Boone attempts to use her surgery as an excuse to get out of cleaning when it suits her and tries to manipulate others. Welcome, Lexi. So, first of all, I want to know what it is what Florida, taxpayers helped pay for this surgery. But also, no, as a person who has chronic pain almost every day, I don't use that as an excuse. I've had to modify things. I am sorry. I don't know. Chat is being a total booger monkey. It wasn't posting Heidi's comments, so I don't know what chat is. My only sort of counsel is to refresh, but that's about all my technical knowledge. Oh, Sarah was found in possession of 3 towels. She earned an official negative. Well, tonight is the, debate. Well, she got a big old negative officer contact. Inmate Boone was observed with 3 sandwiches in a clear Ziploc bag, 30 packets of cheese slices. Inmate Boone says that she's allowed to have them for her diabetes and that the corporals on other shifts say that she can have it. Okay, 30 packets of sliced cheese is not going to help you if you're having a diabetic coma, especially if they're American cheese. But okay. Inmate Boone argued with me when I advised her it was contraband. I advised Inmate Boone that she is only authorized to have one locker. Inmate Boone continued to approach my desk several times, inquiring about contraband and having all of her uh, commissary in another inmate's locker. I gave a verbal directive for inmate Boone to remove her commissary from another person's locker, and whatever doesn't fit in her locker will come downstairs and get a property form sent to all remaining items in property. Inmate Boone was counseled on her disrespectful and negative behavior. Corporal Taylor is aware and addressed her concerns. Oh, another one. At approximately 0:35 or 0:35 hours, I called another inmate down to the officer's station to give her a pair of slides because her current pair had a hole in the bottom. Another inmate then came down to the officer's desk yelling, "Those are my slides. I asked for some." I told her that they were not her slides as inmate Smith asked for them earlier in the shift. Inmate Boone then yelled from the top tier, "Those slides were not for Smith." I told both ladies to stop yelling. The other inmate was sent back to her bunk. Inmate Boone was told to mind her own business as this matter did not concern her, nor did I ask her opinion. Officer West, you are my spirit animal. It's more that they don't have a lot of protein or a lot of so I don't know. I just know that orange juice, I've heard of orange juice, I've heard of the glucose tabs, I've heard of a piece of hard candy. I have never heard of anyone fighting off, a hypoglycemia attack with cheese and sliced American cheese. But I'm not a doctorologist. If Sarah says it works, I'm sure she and Wilfred Brimley uh, are very smart about things, so I'll trust Sarah. Oh no. Looks like we have the actual. Oh, Officer Simone, are we about to become best friends? Because Officer Simone has decided to copy and paste from the inmate handbook that inmates are only allowed to have one inmate handbook, one mattress cover, a bottom sheet, one top sheet, a blanket, one pillow, and then one pillowcase, one towel, and one reusable tumbler. Anything more than what an inmate is allowed is considered contraband. While conducting a shakedown of B dorm, the inmate was found to have an extra set of blues in her possession. Inmate was also again using an additional locker for the top bunk for which no one is assigned. That locker was cleared out. The items were confiscated by the officer and a lock was placed on the other locker. Oh, well, there you go, Fun Diane. I didn't know, but I was like, well, before I spout off and say things I don't know, I will simply say that I've never seen it used. Okay, again, where is Sarah getting all this money to buy like 2 lockers worth of commissary? I am confused. Unless she's getting Sarah Boone money that she accuses all the rest of us YouTubers of stealing. Oh my God. One full page where she had no negative officer contacts. Must have been a really good week in the universe. And we're done. At approximately some kind of hours, because it's not put there, I instructed inmate Boone to prepare to go downtown for court. Instead of getting dressed, I observed her talking in the bunk area. I gave her a verbal order to cease the negative behavior and to again get ready. Inmate Boone then stated to me, quote, I can try to move faster, but I will tell you now, I have my cycle and I can't possibly get dressed and brush my teeth that fast. Now, as a lady I know that cycles are not fun, but never has my cycle, impaired my ability to get dressed quickly. And to put this in perspective for those of you who don't know, I have 6 children. I had 3 girls first, and they're all relatively in teen years, and then I have, 1 boy who is 12, and then a 9-year-old and an 8-year-old. So I have had to put my hustle in a bustle to get out of places, and maybe I don't go out with a full face of makeup. But ma'am, you have an outfit that is picked out for you by the kind people at the jail. All you have to do is brush your teeth and walk quickly-ish. But apparently she's on her cycle, she cannot be forced to move. It should be noted that inmate Boone told the officer's desk for an extended period of time and refused to leave given multiple orders. Due to the downtown courts being escorted prior to inmate Boone being properly dressed, she was left on standby for the next group. Inmate Boone stayed at my desk and became belligerent, demanding to speak to a supervisor. I gave multiple loud, clear verbal orders for inmate Boone to return to her bunk and wait until the next escort, to which she refused, stating, quote, I'm not going anywhere until I speak with your supervisors. You work for me and should, oh, no, we need a different voice. I am not going anywhere until I speak with your supervisors. You work for me and should be very respectful to me as I had to change 7 pads this morning, and if I don't make it to court this morning, do you understand what's going to happen to you? Well, first of all, that seems like you should, I don't know, maybe go to med check because 7 pads in one morning sounds, well, legitimately scary, but also sounds fake. And again, as Sarah's worldwide fan, she really is a cartoon character. Imagine being in prison and then telling the officer that they work for you and that they'll be sorry. Oh, it looks like she officially got negatives written up. Uh, Inmate Blue or Boone eventually complied. She is being given an official negative for the following. So these actually have sort of codes behind them. So failure to follow written or verbal command from staff, insolence or backtalk towards a staff member, using abusive or obscene language or gestures, and loud talking unnecessary noise after lockdown. So I do like that they're finally sort of categorizing these so that, I mean, I don't know what a 2-hour go lay on your bunk thing is going to do, but at least they are starting to actually officially document. I think George Strait would like to be left out of any comparisons to Sarah Boone. Because at this point, she needs to have serious consequences. It seems like she has no ability to not to follow the rules. I mean, these are simple things. She's got another negative officer contact here for having an extra uniform. Sarah does not think that she should have to follow the rules like regular inmates. She doesn't believe that she should have to, she's basically just at a hostel right now. She's like, look, I am not here for the same reason that those other criminal people are here. I am here because of injustice. So really, you don't need to tell me anything. Just pretend I'm on. She's like, worst Airbnb ever. Gonna put this out for my Yelp. My fan will be very upset with you. Because I call BS on fans. I call people horrified by the dumpster fire of a human being and would, stand there and slowly walk by in looky loo like we would, a 17 car pileup. But yeah, no. She can hold what in the hell? Okay, so she was given another negative officer contact for having yet again an extra towel and 36 cheese slices. Why? Why 36 cheese slices? I don't get this chick. Is she okay? She's originally from Wisconsin. She's a cheddarhead. Shakedown was again conducted in B dorm. Inmate Boone Sarah was found to be in possession of an extra towel. She also had excessive amounts of notes and papers attached to her bunk, which is considered destroying, altering, or damaging, defacing government property. This includes graffiti, per the inmate handbook. Inmate was advised if this were to happen again, she would be sent to L dorm under a pending DR status. Let's see. Inmate Boone advised that when she was exiting the shower, another inmate called out something to her. Because of ongoing issues between both inmates, I told inmate Boone to stay to herself and away from the other inmate, and I advised the other inmate to do the same. Sarah Boone can't find a friend. I thought prison's where you go to make the best friends of your life. Or, no, wait. I think that was the army. Never mind. Oh, she has a positive officer contact for voluntarily cleaning. Oh, she got another oh my God, these are 4 positives in a row. I don't trust this. Inmate volunteered to work for the day as the dorm trustee due to not having a daytime trustee. Throughout the shift, she displayed a positive attitude while demonstrating a strong work ethic. She maintained a clean day room, scrubbed the shower, cleaned and stocked the bathroom, and helped set up and break down chow. She received a positive for taking initiative to do the laundry in B dorm. Inmate Boone was selected for duty today due to the regular B dorm trustee being at court. She was extremely helpful and hardworking upon executing her duties. She went above and beyond conducting her duties without being told. Inmate Boone is also helpful and knowledgeable about all the duties required to maintain a clean and sanitary dorm. MCO Himes and I were extremely impressed with her willing attitude towards helping make the dorm room inspection ready. And Inmate Boone is always eager to help with whatever needs to be done in the dorm. For the past 2 days, she's done laundry, served chow, and helped with cleanup following meals and lockdown. Probably. She's probably like, do you have any OJ left? I'm trying to make some prison hooch. That's why she needs 84 lockers. She needs one for fermentation and one for, aging. Because she's classy. Now let's see. Inmate Boone submitted several inmate request forms to speak with me. Inmate Boone asked that I address her concern about some earbuds that were collected with her radio during the shakedown on 6/30/2023 in Bravo Room. The earbuds were replaced and Inmate Boone was satisfied. Well, there you go. And Sarah Boone has never been satisfied in her entire life, so X to doubt. Oh my God, another positive. Inmate Boone has been a great asset to me over the past 2 days. She worked diligently with maintaining the cleanliness of the dorm due to an injury to the dorm trustee's finger. Inmate Boone has worked nonstop with cleaning laundry, restocking the toiletries, and making a supply list for the dorm. She organizes the cleanup crew to assist with the accountabilities for chemicals and is very attentive to the handling of all supplies. Inmate Boone always offers her assistance and never requires anything in return or complaint. I really appreciate all her consistent assistance and I'm therefore issuing her this positive. Inmate Boone has helped throughout the day with dorm cleaning and laundry. Inmate Boone goes above and beyond to help throughout the shift. Maybe just make her a maid. Like, make her a maintenance person at this point. She obviously can't, deal with human interaction in a kind, caring way, but she does worry about, you know, cleanliness. Let's exploit that. Like I said, get an empty can of pledge, put some googly eyes on it, and it's her emotional support, pledge. Because she seems to be able to do good when she got cleaning supplies in her hand. Oh, but then she got a negative. Inmate Boone was late to medication line despite several calls to come to the medication line. He is aware this is a negative. Information. Upon arrival to the dorm, the shift change pass from 2A or A2 shift officer Vasquez uh, was that inmate Boone had visitation at 3 p.m. today with a visitor, Matt Johnson, and was disconnected. Officer Vasquez advised me she contacted visitation, but no one answered. Inmate Boone approached the desk and informed me of the information above. At approximately 19:29 hours, I contacted video visitation via a landline and spoke with video visitation supervisor Stanford. I inquired about the reason why inmate Boone's visual visitation was disconnected, and the supervisor advised me that the visitor, Matt Johnson, a reporter, misrepresented himself and must go through proper channels in order to conduct video visitation. Inmate Boone was informed. Inmate Boone asked who the supervisor I spoke to was, and I advised her that I'm not able to give her the supervisor's name, but the supervisor will be documented in her inmate notebook. Well, she is on honor roll. Yeah, I can only imagine. And you probably have these group of officers who just float around the dorm, and Sarah's always doing really good things like volunteering to be in charge of everyone. I mean, clean the dorm. So I'm sure she enjoys that. Uh, but, the people that are regular, like 9 to 5ers in this dorm are like, sure, sure, she's got you fooled now, but wait till you tell her no ever. Information. Uh, Inmate Boone is receiving this negative having a contraband pillow. Upon inspection of Inmate Boone's pillow, it was found to have two pillows into one. Inmate Boone's pillows also had staples holding it together? Question mark. The pillow has been confiscated and disposed of. Oh, she got another positive though. Inmate Boone is receiving a positive officer contact as she assisted with dorm duties without even being asked to, with zero hesitation. Let it be noted that Bravo Dorm does not have a daytime trustee at this time, and inmate Boone was awesome with helping step in and making it happen throughout the day. But then it goes to a negative. Day room and dorm whoops, sorry, wrong one, were verbally given when the day room opened during and after lunch. All inmates were ordered to have all personal property kept in inmate property drawer. All inmates were given a chance to correct any issues before a visual check was conducted. Inmate Boone did not comply with the verbal order. Oh no, Sarah can't make friends. Because the next negative contact, inmate Boone was moved from bunk 36B to bunk 4B due to her constantly disregarding dorm rules. Inmate Boone's property was found in another inmate's bunk. She has been informed previously that this negative. Uh, I did do her last pro se letter where she's basically said that all evidence up to and including not only the interrogation, the body cam, but video taken from her own, her infamous, taunting George video, were taken without authentication, no chain of custody, according to her, and should be disregarded and not allowed into her trial. Now, it's a bold it's a bold strategy, but I'm not sure that she's going to actually win this whole everything that looks incriminatory towards me. It's not allowed. Let's see here. Now, information. So let's get back to what the hell Sarah had in her damn extra locker, because what the hell? We are writing this on the blackboard of truth. Also, if you know any teachers, okay, I just learned about these, but these have to be the best chalks ever. It's called Hagagomro, but these are the best pieces of chalk. They're really thick. Most of it has a kind of covering so you don't get chalk dust all over your hands, but they also write really smooth and clear. So, if you have a deep desire to have a giant or blackboard and really good chalk, this is great chalk. But let's get down to what this woman had. So while conducting shakedown of inmate Boone's bunk, 15 paper clips. Oh, well, that's a... She had 30 pieces of... What is this chick and cheese? She had 3 empty brown bags from what? She had, let's see, 10 pieces of bread. Chick, what are you doing? 10 pieces of bread, 10 spoons, 6 bra straps, 5 twist ties, 1 extra pillow, 10 cups, 6 whole gloves, 40 cut-up gloves, 20 clear bags, several pieces of blue tape, 12 empty chip bags, 7 empty bottles. She also had her property in another inmate's locker. Okay. Like, were you trying to make a distillery? Are you hoping that you become MacGyver one day and you can turn 15 paper clips, 30 pieces of cheese, 3 brown bags, 7 bra straps for some reason into an escape vehicle? I have no idea. What in the hell? Like, I don't even want to understand. Now, when questioned, she did admit to having all of this. All contraband was collected and discarded. Is she... I am only going to guess now that she's just hoarding for the apocalypse. I don't know. I cannot figure out why this chick needs all this cheese. Inmate Boone refused her medical appointment scheduled for October 6, 2023. But we do have a positive. We have 2 positives. Inmate Boone is always willing to help with whatever needs to be done in the dorm. She helped the dorm trustee with laundry and food services today. Inmate Boone was an excellent fill-in inmate worker for the dorm today, maintaining its cleanliness. She took initiative to carry out necessary duties without being told. She's a great helper. Oh, fun, Diane. I am learning all sorts of new things. Let's see. The cheese, once dry, acts as glue. Thread and paper clips are used to snake things through the toilet to other dorms. I guess I don't need human contact all that much. I'm over here thinking, could you please send me to my room for 2 hours just to adjust my attitude? The older I get, the more I'm hoping I will be grounded and I cannot go outside and I must stay in my room for punishment. Like like, "No, I'm afraid you need to go into your room and think about your behavior. Don't come out until your attitude changes." And I'll be like, "Thanks, Your Honor. Imma be here for a while. I have all my stuff in my room. Nice try." I know, participation trophy wife. I would be fine. Ground me for my behavior. My attitude stinks. I need to be sent to my room. Let's see here. Another negative, contact. Now, Sarah Boone apparently requested a personal hygiene razor and then returned it, looking like she hadn't used it, I guess. Very odd. I think that might have just been a mislabel. Oh, a long negative contact. Let's see what we get into here. While conducting the mail cart legal mail, inmate Boone received legal mail which had to be split into 3 different stacks. I explained the mail cart process to inmate Boone and that I would be splitting her papers up in 3 stacks due to the size. All pages were scanned and printed. It should be noted that one of the pages in the second stack of the papers became jammed in the printer. I proceeded to clear the jam of one piece of paper, the document, and proceeded to rescan and reprint the second stack of papers that had a jam document. Inmate Boone then states, "How do I know I received all my papers?" I stated to her, "I rescanned and reprinted the entire stack of papers. Therefore, you have all your papers." Inmate Boone then proceeded to say, "Well, how do I know that the papers are in order?" I told inmate Boone that I had her place her papers and documents facing downwards, which you watch me take, scan, and print 3 stacks of paper in order leading from the back to the front of the stacks of paper. I showed inmate Boone the front and back of each stack of papers so she could see what order the papers were in. Inmate Boone was not satisfied. That's pretty much the motto of her life. Inmate Boone did not want me to shred the original copies of her mail. Inmate Boone began to sort her papers out on the mail cart. I instructed inmate Boone to return to her dorm to sort out the papers. Inmate Boone stated, "Are you really going to shred my original copy?" And I told her yes, that's part of the mail cart process. Inmate Boone was upset and does not appear to understand the cart process. All original pages were shredded. Oh, but then we got another positive. Inmate Boone has been a tremendous help throughout this entire weekend. So I have noticed that Officer Jaimes seems to be the only one that continues to use give her positive officer contacts. So I think Sarah might have found her mark. Sarah has found the one person that thinks Sarah is just being a good little helper. Inmate Boone has been a tremendous help throughout this entire weekend. She willingly offered to assist with cleaning within the dorm area if any needed to be done. I specifically request that she conducts the cleaning, although I have a dorm worker, because she has a unique way of keeping everything organized and there's no confusion during the process. Inmate Boone volunteered to clean drainage ducts on A and B recreation yard and removed all the clutter. She assisted with lunch and dinner the entire weekend and was just a very pleasant help throughout the entire process. Inmate Boone is very respectful and always polite when engaging with staff. Okay, this has to be a typo. I mean, this chick does Sarah just practice her good personality coming out with this officer? Because there's no way. But there you go. This officer thinks she's great. Uh, Interesting. Inmate has requested to join the Into Work program as seen in the most recent inmate letter via IRF. Inmate will be notified that accelerated trainings are only available to sentenced inmates and that Into Work is not available to female inmates, but that she may request to join an approved program if interested. Well, she's going to be mad if she's not allowed to join, Into Work. Although it would be nice for her to have a job. Inmate Boone was instructed to remove her court documents out of the property drawer for bunk 5. She was keeping some of her documents in there, knowing that on a previous dorm shakedown, she got in trouble for doing the same thing. I gave Inmate Boone a directive to remove all of her property out of the drawer and place it in her own drawer. After completion of the dorm shakedown, Inmate Boone was told to place some of her things in property if she could not keep them in her own property drawer. Well, those 36 slices of cheese are much more important than any of her court documents. She's got to have a place for that cheese. Yeah, she should save all of her love for her one fan or fans. Ooh, a long information. My guess is that, oh God, she's bitching about an absentee ballot. On July 10th, 2024, inmate Boone had a conversation with senior CCO Goodwin in B dorm. While I was exiting the unit from class, inmate Boone stopped me and had questions about how she will be able to fill out her voter's ballot due to being sent to Tampa and due to legal mail being scanned in. Ms. Goodwin explained to her that voting by absentee ballot process and tried to give inmate Boone a registration paper, but inmate Boone refused to fill out the registration form. Inmate Boone then requested to speak to Captain Giovanni. She filled out an inmate request form regarding her issue with the voting process. On today, 7/15/2024, a meeting was held with my supervisor, and she confirmed that inmate Boone will be able to vote. Inmate Boone must fill out an absentee ballot and put the appropriate address on it. Senior CCO Goodwin will pass the information on to Boone today. Oh my lord, this woman voted. On 7/10/2024, inmate Boone submitted an IRF regarding a concern she has with receiving her absentee ballot since the OCJ moved to electronically receiving mail. On 7/15/2024, SCCO Goodwin advised inmate Boone that as long as she used the P.O. box address to receive her vote by mail ballot, she would receive it in hand and not electronically. I explained to her that her ballot would be delivered to the OCJ mailroom and forwarded to her to complete and return via the mailroom to the supervisor of elections office. Inmate Boone stated she previously provided the Office of Elections the P.O. Box address, but was advised to fill out another absentee ballot request with the P.O. Box address. Inmate Boone filled out the Orange County vote by mail request form and placed it in a self-addressed envelope. She raised a concern that there was no postage on the self-addressed envelope, but was assured that her mail would be processed through the U.S. postage meter machine. Negative officer contact. Inmate Boone's bunk was checked by Corporal Dunpat during her supervisory tour. Inmate Boone was in possession of 3 towels, 2 pillows, and 2 sheets. All extra items were confiscated. Inmate Boone has a medical note for an extra pillow that expired 2 years ago. She's like, but my back still hurts. I got the sciatica. And on really terrible days in Florida, my sciatica just burns up. Again, she was told that she gets one locker, not 173. Boone is a smuggler. Let's see here. Inmate Boone was advised that at approximately 21:59 hours, she had an attorney visit. Inmate Boone requested to know who the attorney was, being that she had no attorney assigned to her. Inmate Boone stated that she does not feel comfortable visiting anyone that she doesn't know because of quote unquote crazy people. Uh, have been trying to reach out and schedule visits with her, claiming to be someone they're not. Inmate Boone was notified her attorney's name was James Wiskowski. However, due to inmate Boone's delay in response as to whether or not she wanted to meet with him, he dropped off her case files and departed. When inmate Boone was given files and notified of the attorney's departure, she began to remember who he was and became upset. Inmate Boone mentioned that she had met with him previously and he traveled from Tallahassee just to meet her. It was explained to inmate Boone that we are not responsible for his departure. Sarah Boone's like, lay in front of his car. I need him. No, go stop, tase him because I need to talk to him. I mean, Sarah, again, this man had to drive all the way down to Tallahassee. He probably went through the search thing. I believe if she is not um, adjudicated guilty, I believe so. I wonder who she's going to vote for. Do you think she's for hope and that she is unburdened by what has been? Now, again, it was explained to Sarah that we are not responsible for stopping your lawyer from fleeing. She was notified of his presence, and her delay in response resulted in his departure. A higher up sergeant was made, you know, aware of this particular shenanigans. Inmate Boone turned in a request form attached with a letter for Captain Di Giovanni. Corporal Dunhop received the letter and gave it to Sergeant De Jesus due to Captain Di Giovanni not being here. It will be given to her upon her return. Inmate Boone was made aware. It looks like Sarah Boone did in fact receive her, 3 USB tabs, a laptop, 2 boxes with discovery paperwork. Now, Sarah's laptop and USBs have to be returned to main control when she's not using them. She did receive a laptop, according to this, with a USB, a hard drive, and a USB cord. So, they are documenting when they give her this laptop because she made a big stink about how they never let her use her laptop. She never has any time. Now, she did have two negative officer contacts. Inmate Boone was advised not to wear her altered inmate blues uniform to downtown court. While inmate appeared for scheduled court appearances, it was discovered by CRSO Jones that Boone had altered her county-issued blues with staples along the side of her pant legs. Inmate Boone was counseled for this negative behavior. Chick was trying to tighten up her pants like we all care about what her legs look like. No. Gross. At 1948 hours, inmate Boone was notified staff that she was not sure she was going to use the laptop because she was unable to get internet. Inmate Boone stated that she will let staff know when she's ready to use the laptop. At 2100 hours, inmate Boone approached the staff and requested to use the laptop. The laptop was then provided to her. Let's see here. On Friday, August 16th, 2024, inmate Sarah requested an extra small uniform shirt verbally, also on an inmate request form. Inmate Boone complains that the small uniform shirts issued to her has an improper fit, too big. Inmate Boone complains the small uniform shirts are revealing. I contacted Uniform Supply and was informed that the smallest uniform shirt is a small. Inmate Boone requested to receive an extra small shirt prior to her meeting. There is no extra small. On 8/16/2024, inmate Boone requested a smaller inmate uniform top due to meeting scheduled for her case. I asked inmate Boone what size top did she currently have on, and she informed me a small. I informed inmate Boone that small was the smallest size inmate uniform top that the federal, corrections had to offer. Inmate Boone requested that I look for her different small that may fit smaller than the small that she was wearing. Sarah, I am not finding you a smaller shirt. Stuff your chest with some of them cheese slices. It'll look fine. I'd have been like, just put some cheese slices in there. You'll have bazongas. It'll be great. Now, she was informed to wear a t-shirt or thermal under her top if she felt it was too big or might show too much. No one wants to see your boobage, Sarah. On August 17th, 2024, inmate Boone was on an interview with a professional visitor. The visitor informed staff that he had legal mail for inmate Boone. Sergeant Dunn, Corporal Hall, and I searched inmate Boone's property. During the search, the following items were amongst her legal mail: paperclip, staple, clear Ziploc bags, one written tablet with staples attached. During the search, inmate Boone became argumentative, questioning staff why her property was being searched. I explained to inmate Boone that she is subject to search at any time. Yes, you're in prison. You are not allowed to have staples, like a flamethrower, a knife, paper clips. You have nothing but time, and apparently an abundance of cheese slices. No. Okay, let's see here. On Sunday, August 18th, 2024, at approximately 07:15 hours, I informed inmate Boone that a laptop, USB drive, and Discovery hard drive would be available for her usage between 0800 and 1600 hours. At approximately 07:24, those items were given to her to use. Now, on Sunday, August 18th, at approximately 0800 hours, I issued the laptop, 3 USB drives, and 1 Discovery hard drive to inmate Sarah. At 8:10 hours, I was informed by inmate Boone that the laptop was not charged. Sergeant Y. Dunn was notified and responded with a charger. At approximately 900 hours, the laptop began charging. Inmate Boone was notified. At approximately 10:15 hours, I reissued the laptop and all of the rest of that jazz to her. At approximately 10:45, inmate Boone turned in a request referencing receiving an ink pen and paper from staff. She gave them, 2 pens, and inmate Boone informed that so she talked to another officer, and basically the other officer said, "Look, I just gave her 2 pens, yesterday, and yesterday I gave her paper." Now, at approximately 11:04 hours, I was informed by Sarah Boone that the laptop was charged to 52%. This is a dorm officer contact note. As dorm officer, I am aware that inmate Sarah Boone has received a laptop per a set schedule. I am also aware that she tends to use it frequently. However, I noticed today that she didn't ask for it since my arrival to shift. I asked if she would like to utilize her laptop privileges, to which she stated, "Yes, I've been wanting to use it, but you didn't ask me. I was told that you guys are to ask me if I want to use it, and I'm not to ask any questions." It should be noted that inmate Boone has been briefed by staff regarding her laptop usage since the first time she received it, and is also to ask a dorm officer for it if she would like to use it. Again, she did not notify me that she would like to use it at any time since my arrival to shift. She received the laptop, and Corporal Ward was notified. Moments later, while I was conducting a visual inspection, she stated to me that the laptop was low on battery, to which I looked and confirmed it was. Inmate Boone then requested a statement form stating, quote, "This is the third day in a row you've given it to me with a dead battery. It's supposed to be charged. May I have a statement form that you guys give to document when I don't use the laptop? I want to write about the laptop constantly being dead." Now, she was given said form and the laptop was placed on a charger. Ooh, Megan Fox raid impending. Well, thank you so much. Well, I'm just saying, I mean, you have all this cheese. I don't know how much prison glue you need, but you could get a nice B cup, Sarah. Think about it. Officer contact note. Inmate Boone is currently pro se and is allowed to use a laptop per scheduled hours of the day. Inmate Boone is currently pro se, or is currently allowed a laptop per schedule hours. The laptop had low battery and needed to be charged. An entry was made hours ago by this officer regarding the battery and also inmate Boone requesting an OP60 or a statement form. While collecting the form from inmate Boone, I informed her that the laptop is now charged and should be ready for use in the morning. I also told her I will make the day shift officer aware that the laptop is to be charged once she is finished with it so she can utilize it during the night shift. Inmate Boone stated, "Miss Ford, I will take the form back. I didn't really want to turn it in. It's okay. I will keep my documents. Just please let the officers know that it has to be charged. I can't do anything without it." I gave her the form back and Sergeant Moreno was notified. Let's see. Evening shower was available and offered, but Sarah refused to shower because, of course, it's only Florida in the middle of, I don't know, August. And welcome, Megan Foxraid. Thank you for joining. We are just going over inmate behavioral notes for our lovely Sarah Boone, who's never done anything wrong except for those I think round 70 cheese slices that she's been stealing. Now, booking note created. Corporal Pagan and I engaged in a discussion with inmate Boone in the FDC briefing Boone regarding several matter our briefing room regarding several matters. We addressed the proper channels for submitting request forms, emphasizing that they should be directed to the housing officer or shift supervisor rather than to county legal counsel Scott Chavanel and Captain D. Giovanni for routine needs. She was trying to go to the regional district headquarter manager. I'm not shocked. Action taken. Inmate Boone, who has been incarcerated since 2020, is already well acquainted with the established procedures and confirmed her understanding of them. Inmate Boone expressed a desire to have a tablet available for her use throughout the day. Action taken. We clarified that tablets are accessible to all inmates on a standard schedule 7 days a week, ensuring reasonable access without the need for further action. Inmate also requested writing materials such as pen and paper to be replenished as necessary. Request was denied at my level and escalated to the appropriate authority, who provided guidance in compliance with our policy. Inmate Boone was directed to request her items via an inmate request form to the Law Library Department. Good to see you, Megan Fox. Welcome to There's Something About Sarah. And I'm going to guess that it's a lack of soul, but that's just me. We have learned that Sarah Boone deeply loves cheese slices and hoarding random trash, and that she likes to volunteer to clean stuff. for reasons I can't figure out, other than to lord her ability to tell other inmates what to do, and that she will be voting in this year's election. So, God help us all. I don't know. And those are the latest inmate notes, except Jedi Jess is absolutely awesome. And she found us the latest. Oh, no, I want to share that. Darn you. Listen to what I didn't tell you. She found the latest inmate information. So here we have uh, this. So I do like that the state is, per the judge's orders, looking very closely at when she was pro se and indigent and incompetent, but her own attorney, nevertheless, they would mark down when she had to. She asked for the laptop, how long she had it, and that it was given to her charged and things like that. But she did get a negative. She got another demerit. She lost Slytherin a whole hell of a lot of points. On 8/26, I heard loud yelling from the hallways. Upon further investigating, I realized it was coming from the briefing room. The briefing room was occupied by inmate Boone and another inmate. Now, due to the loud disturbance, I entered the room and informed inmate Boone and the other inmate that they were causing a disturbance. Owens informed me that everything was good and they just had a little disagreement. But inmate Boone came from the meeting/interview I'd spoken to her about retrieving a grievance form. Inmate Boone informed me that she did not need a grievance form. Ma'am, you are a grievance against humanity, but I don't know what we've done wrong. She is, oh, Sarah Boone got a strip search. If that doesn't make you committed to not, snacking, I don't know what will. On August 30th, 2024, at approximately 11:58 hours, inmate Boone completed her interview and viewing of physical evidence. I conducted a strip search at the conclusion of the interview and escorted inmate Boone back to her unit. I don't think we pay these officers enough. If I had to see Sarah Boone naked, I'd probably cry, to be honest. And then we do have the order of appearance of the co-counsel, because now she not only has one lawyer who, for reasons of masochism and possibly, a long ago promise by his ancestors to serve Satan, was unfortunately, lumped with Sarah. So notice is hereby given that Kevin T. Beck enters his appearance as co-counsel to James Owen Esquire on behalf of defendant Sarah Boone in the above styled case. Well, I mean, I do have a question though. So can you get someone a gift membership to AA? Because I feel like these lawyers need like their soon to be working on sobriety coins. Because I couldn't, you guys. Now, the final thing that Jedi Jess, who is awesome at getting all of the documents for me, is this, and this is what I find absolutely the grossest and lowest thing that Sarah is doing. It is the notice of intent to rely on the defense of a battered spouse syndrome. Comes now the defendant by and through undersigned attorney under Rule 3.201, battered spouse slash syndrome or defense of Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure, gives notice on its intent to rely on the defense of a battered spouse syndrome, and states: 1. At the time of the alleged offense, the defendant was suffering from battered woman syndrome as a result of alleged physical or psychological abuse by the defendant, or the defendant sustained at the hands of the alleged victim, Jorge. And that, two, Dr. Julie Harper will be a Category A witness for the defense in establishing this condition on behalf of the defendant. And three, that Dr. Julie Harper, a forensic psychologist of Northwest Florida Psychological Services, will be considered their star witness. Now, let's be honest. This These two were about as good for each other as, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. These two should never have been together. They were TNT and dumpster fire water to start off with. Now, you can make a claim that they were both mutually abusive to each other. What I think is gross and disgusting is that Sarah, in no one's sane, rational, everyday look at things, has lived the experience of a person who has actually dealt with domestic violence. And why do I say that? Why do I come out so strong? She is openly aggressive, hostile, authoritative, and has no problem trying to control people. Now, these are not behaviors that you would witness if she was truly terrified of Jorge. If she was truly because you could, if Sarah Boone had never opened her effing mouth, had never penned one goddamn letter, we could have said, "Look, I know she seems abrasive on the video, but she got him in there and she was terrified because we have, you know, she has a long history of Jorge losing his temper and things like that." The problem with that is that we have just as much evidence that Sarah Boone was aggressive and the aggressor on the other end. And for them to use this defense with full knowledge that she was in fact the aggressor on sometimes really cheapens the fact that there are some women who have dealt with monsters, some men who have dealt with monsters and abusive partners and have actually had to fight back. And unfortunately, things went way out of hand and someone ends up losing their life. But Sarah in no way embodies that. She's not a good enough actress to play, uh, you know, submissive, terrified. There are markers, and anyone who has dealt with BS in their life, even if it's emotional abuse, someone yelling at you, you know, Sarah Boone doesn't have any of those markers where she constantly apologizes. She doesn't turtle in when she's doing thing. She isn't easily startled by loud noises. Uh, for me, there were several times in the body cam where you had people walking up behind her or the officer walking up behind her and telling her, "Hey, could you just, sit down? I don't want you falling out as you try to straddle this bush to drink water." Anyone who's ever been attacked from behind or in fear for their life, we don't handle people being behind us we don't know. Uh, you know, so it's just like that chick from the Karen Reed case who is all but calling herself, John O'Keefe's widow. You don't take people's tragedies, try them on as a face mask, and then, wear it as a costume. You don't get to take their victim points. These are obviously crappy things that people have gone through. And my situation was no worse, no better than anyone else's. But what I am telling you is I am not an aggressive person. I joke around on here, but I don't like loud noises. I freeze up or, kind of become almost frozen when confrontation is around me. These are all symptoms of having some kind of trauma linked with either verbal violence or things. I go directly into people pleasing mode. Sarah has never pleased anyone in her entire life without it trying to get something back for her. I mean, this isn't something you can play around with. I go directly into, I mean, I have people that ask me, like, why are you apologizing for this? It wasn't your fault McDonald's didn't have the French fries or anything like that. These are verbal tics I work really hard on myself, within myself, to fix because I have had these things in my past. And there is nothing grosser to me than someone, again, trying to take someone's, um, well, I mean, she has been married, but Brian run. But there is, look, it's like that thing, what is prawn? Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you when I see it. I can't, go through an entire itemized list, and I don't have the, doctorate in psychology or whatever that this woman is going to use to make Sarah a victim, but I can tell you that woman was not a victim. She was a mutual combatant, and that's my opinion. And Sarah, feel free to write me a letter. I will be putting it on my YouTube channel, so just deal with it. But feel free to argue with me, Sarah, because I call BS. You were mutually combative with George. You lucked out with your first husband in that you would attack him and he would never attack you back because that's just not how he was built. You decided to get with someone with poor self-control just like you. And then we're shocked when, I don't know, someone doesn't really take kindly to being given a neck hug. I'm sorry, Sarah. No, I find this to be more grotesque than the, oh please. Sarah, make my day, make my year. 2024 is already a sparkling diamond of crazy. I welcome your letter. Thank you, Squid. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to. So while I've got this up, tangent engaged. For those of you new here and haven't really met me, guess who got selected for jury duty? So I am kind of excited to see which parties will assume things about me just because of my hair. So not to mention, let's be real, y'all. As soon as I say that I make fun of trials and, you know, basically laugh at people on the internet, I'm sure I will be shown the door forthwith. But as I am banking on not having jury duty for the rest of the week, I will be the one that's been announced as foreperson because it's just my luck. Although I have asked if I am allowed to volunteer as tribute for any, land boat captains, sovereign citizens, I will move crap around. Like I will move crap around. I will cancel vacations. I will go in, early. But if you have a land boat captain case, a sovereign citizen, I am there. I am willing to work that. But everything else I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to see if I can actually do this. Uh, so I have no idea. You guys, me, jury duty 2024, you absolutely ridiculous, shining, crazy ball of fire. Would you just stop on the crazy train for a couple minutes? I'm still digesting, Hasidic gentleman rising from the sewers out of New York, like some really weird Ben Shapiro Ninja Turtle crossover. So I am hoping that, as much as I joke, I would love to do jury duty. I know that sounds weird. My really deep down only fear is that I would get selected for a child case. And it's easier to kind of divorce yourself from some of the really, really terrible and awful things. Just like, it's easy to divorce myself of the sheer panic and terror and claustrophobia that Jorge went through because I can make fun of Sarah. So that's kind of my coping mechanism. But my big worry has always been, and since I was picked for jury duty, is that I would have to go sit on a terrible child case. And I have 6 kids. I would adopt all the people just to keep them out of harm's way. I would adopt all the children and even half of the internet. Uh, so having to deal with a case where I actually have to see all of the discovery, Thank you, Zach, for your super chat. Well, my hair isn't for everyone, but I've got awesome hair and a fabulous rack. Well, okay, the rack was fabulous when I was 18. Now it's, passable good, but we're okay with it. Look, I've had 6 kids. They're just like, "Don't wear a crop top, man. Gravity actually has happened." Thank you so much. I generally do my hair myself, but I broke down after 3 years and got someone. I'll have to pick it up. They eventually go in the little shadow box so you can kind of see under, the chalkboard. So thank you, Carolyn B. I will pick that up and it will go shadow box. I'm saving all of those for this year, and we're almost full. Unhung hero, I had to talk about my hair since it's a Megan Fox raid. And my boobs have always been awesome. I just use my powers for good and keep them covered like a good Christian most of the time, unless I need to use them. Yeah, but that's all that we have in the Sarah Boone case thus far. I do really want to hear that reasoning that their expert has in order to continue to use the battered spouse syndrome, considering that her first attorney, I believe, tried to use it and then withdrew that particular defense. I do want to see what's going on with that going forward. I do also. I think we need to write a countdown or start a countdown because when are we going to get the next letter? Because Sarah Boone is super de duper upset with her, you know, new attorneys and needs, well, I guess all the Justice League and maybe Jesus to stop her terrible, terrible injustice against herself. That is me done for the day. If you guys need a place to get the evening news before your defense, or not defense, before the debate happens and we all want to run away and join the circus, I will be doing nightly newsy news with Mo at 7. I try to stay away from political stuff. I try to stay away from Mesopotamia stuff. So it's just weird stories that I find. Generally, there's something completely off the wall, but it's about an hour long of just interesting, relevant, current news, but told with wit, snark, and heart. So, yes, there will be some mom shame, but it will also be, regular old news. I just find the weird stuff. Thank you all for joining. I hope that you all got some more. There's something about Sarah's stuff. And then on Thursday, hopefully, if I'm not in, well, jury duty or the clink, because I have, opened this mouth, uh, I should be doing Mo Answers It All. I take everything from Reddit and I give you guys my opinion on am I the a-hole? Because really, should Reddit have all the fun? I can judge people. I'm great at judging people. So I take a bunch of things from Reddit. We discuss these insane things and family dynamics that people want to vomit out on the internet and then receive advice for. So that is the plan for Thursday. And if I'm able to stream tomorrow, it will be Court and Cross Stitch. Get your, favorite crafting project that you're. Oh, yes. I will set up an email. I have got to set up an actual Mo in the Deep End email instead of my own, but my regular, just personal email is on my site, so you can send in question, or if you're on the stream and you're okay with me giving you life advice, as possibly the most deeply unserious person with at least 100 wigs, with those caveats, I will give you all the advice I have. So if you want to join that, you know, but I'm trying to do more promotion and get out there a little more. So these are not my comfort zone things. So if you are part of my chat and you see maybe a subject you want me to talk about or anything else like that, feel free to shout out things. I always have a handy dandy notebook because Steve taught me well. Blues Clues, Blues Clues. How to tell if you have had more children in the recent years than any other person you know. You know Blues Clues, you know Paw Patrol, and Bear in the Big Blue House and Bubble Guppies. So have a great day. I hope you guys got some entertainment out of this. Sarah is her own special cartoon character from hell. And one day we can only hope that she will be able to fully pull her head right out of her ass and maybe take a deep breath. I don't know, but that's a Moism for you today. Cranial rectitis kills, pull your head out of your ass. I love you guys. Gotta go. Bye.